You do not need to worry about what your probability of success looks like when it comes to retirement. Now, trust me, I get it when I say that. You're like, well, I kind of do because that's what's going to dictate whether or not I'm on track. Let me show you something, and I think you're going to have a whole lot more clarity. So check this out. You can see here, John and Jane, 58 and 57, with a 24-year-old child. They've clearly saved, invested really well. They own their home with a mortgage, and then you can see here they have 2.3 million of investments, of which 2.2 of that, let me move myself here, is in a 401k with 130,000 in a Roth IRA. They want to retire at 60, so 2 years of John working. Now, when they click the retirement tab here, this is what scares everyone. OMG, 38%. Does that mean that I'm nowhere on track for retirement? Does that mean that there's literally a 62% chance that I am not going to be able to retire? Am I going to run out of money? Those are probably the thoughts coming to your head. And I would have those same thoughts if I was not aware of properly how to look at this. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you what not to worry about. And trust me, I say on YouTube, I'm the meanest financial advisor. I promise I'm not mean. I'm very transparent. I don't want you to retire early and be mad at me if you run out of money. So I'm not just saying 38% all good, go retire. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm also not going to let you be mad at me when you're 85 with 10 million bucks going, hey, what the heck? I wanted to retire early and you told me to just keep working. Why didn't you tell me I was in a good spot if I really am in a good spot? So I'm going to clear all this up for you today. My name is Ari. I am a CFP, a certified financial planner. That is not why you should listen to me. How many doctors would you never let touch your body? Probably a lot of them. I'm a soccer player. I play 5 days a week in my local league. If I didn't have a doctor fix my hip, I could not go back and play. So I'm grateful, but there's many I would not let touch my body. In the same way, many CFPs I took my certification with, I wouldn't want managing my money. Now, I'm also the host of the Early Retirement Podcast. This is all I do. Tax strategy, estate planning, healthcare. You're not going to see me make videos on best new travel hack or credit cards. That's just not my thing. So with that being said, let's hop into today's video. So let's go a little deeper here because we see a 38% probability of success. When we click comparisons, this is what we're seeing. So this is a tool that you all have access to if you would like in the description below. And you can see here, this is their portfolio, $2.3 million. It grows at age 60, they retire, 2.6 million, and then it's decreasing. Why is it decreasing? Well, they're spending more on vacations and travel while they have their energy and health. Then at 70, Social Security comes on and they're spending less. And then at 90, that's when they're saying their long-term care is going to start to come in and other expenses. So now you can see they have about $1.5 million bucks, and then they want to plan, hey, we want to be able to give more to our children in the end. So they don't want to pass it with $0, but they want to certainly make sure they don't just give it all away because they want to enjoy their retirement. So this is their retirement. This is what it looks like. How could a retirement this good have a 38% probability of success? Weird, right? Well, check this out. I'm going to give credit here to another financial advisor. And I said at the beginning, there's many CFPs I would not trust. But this is one who just said it so well, I'm going to give him credit. So we are in my LinkedIn right now, and I just want to explain this because so many of you are going to see this. It's going to click. We're going to connect some dots. You're going to feel good about when you're on track to retire. Some of you are going to watch this and go, okay, well, I realize I'm further than I thought. Others will go, why on earth am I still working? So let's see what he says. So Marcel here, he is a CFP and a CFA. So a CFA, that's more of that analyst designation, understanding how to look at stocks and all that cool stuff involved in that. I'm not as skilled as Marcel is because he has that designation. So you can see he says, my clients with 100% probability of reaching their goals are usually miserable. They're generally just working hard and saving diligently. That's what happened with a recent client of his. He even says, but my client said, isn't that what we're supposed to do? Isn't 100% good? It means sacrificing too much today for an unknown tomorrow, and that he had clients who had millions of dollars who were not taking vacations, just working and saving. And so he created a system that I do not agree with, but let me just be clear. He goes, we target a 60 to 70% probability of financial success. Why? Because he wants them to take vacations, upgrade their home, live their best life. And he's basically saying you can't project your life 20 plus years into the future. It's impossible. So why am I highlighting that? Well, personally, I work with people that retire early. I don't know Marcel's exact clients. I don't know a lot about Marcel. I just saw that on LinkedIn and wanted to highlight him. The reason I bring this up, pretend Marcel works with people who retire at 65 and die at 95. That's a 30-year time horizon. That's not most of you. Most of you who reach out to me to work together or just watch the videos for education, you want to retire in your 50s, maybe early 60s, potentially late 40s, and you might need income for 40 or 50 years. So that 60%, 70%, that's not what I'm saying you should do. What I'm saying is you should honestly throw all of that into the toilet and focus on your withdrawal rate. Because what you can see here in this exact client example, we have someone who wants to plan to live till 100. They want to spend $8,000 a month. They're planning for big long-term care costs. They want to take $25,000 a year for new vacations, but not forever. You can see here just the first 10 years. Once again, you guys should all customize this for you. This is just an example. New cars, $75,000 a year for every 10 years. They want to do weddings for their child and help out. They want to buy a new RV and do a remodel. But that's something they're not planning for yet. So this is right now where they basically were saying, hey, am I on track? Like, can I retire at 60? And they are waiting for me to go, oh, yep, you're at 100%. And I could tell they're waiting for me to go, yep, look, this graph looks good. I don't care about any of this. Now, are they helpful metrics to understand? Of course. You can see here when we're looking at probability of success, running these Monte Carlo simulations or stress testing different scenarios. Yes, it's helpful. I recommend doing them. But it's not what I care about nearly as much as this right here. Now, why do I care about this? Well, this, first of all, is not sexy. Okay, it's sexy to me because I'm weird with this financial stuff. But for most people, they go, well, this just doesn't give me confidence. I just see some lines that are larger and smaller. But to me, this tells me if someone's on track for retirement. I can know if someone should retire or not almost entirely based off of this graph. So what does this graph tells me? This graph tells me that if this person retires at 60, they're going to have to start taking 9.6% of their portfolio. Now, let's just pretend for a second that it was 9% for the first year because they were buying a new car, sending a kid to college, paying for a wedding, doing a home remodel, which I would recommend they don't do all that in 1 year, but pretend they just said, Ari, I don't care, I want to. And then their withdrawal rate for the rest of their life was 3%. Would I say they could retire? I'd say they're probably in a really good spot to make it happen. But that's not the case here. So in this case, you can see a 9% withdrawal rate becomes 10, becomes 10.5, becomes 11.5. Then it decreases a little bit because they're spending a little bit less. No more vacations at this point, or a little less. 8%, 8%, 8%, 9%. Then it drops to 3%. We're in fact in the 2% range here. What does this tell me? What this tells me is that they're looking pretty good from 70 on. A 3% withdrawal rate, in fact, that's too low for me. That's me going to my clients going, you're not going to like me later because you don't want to leave $10 million to your child, so you should spend more. But my concern is these first 15 years. That's what I'm worried about. For him, it's 10 years specifically. So you can see a 9% withdrawal rate, 10%. That's too high. Why is that too high? Well, what if markets go down and you get unlucky? Right when you retire, markets go down and you want to make sure you're still spending on travel. What happens is when markets go down, you're going to get hesitant. You're going to go, maybe I don't travel this year. I mean, I know this is when I have my energy and my health, but markets went down. I don't want to travel. That kind of defeats the purpose of retiring early in this example. So what does this person have as options? Well, to me, I wouldn't even rely on this chart. This chart is taking a good guess of are you going to be on track based on how much money you have. But here's the risk. What if your investments don't do well? Put a conservative allocation on there, just as an example, which is why I have concerns with this graph. What does it say now? Well, now we run out of money at about 93. And at 89, when big long-term care expenses come on, we're in a tough spot. Now, what if he's like, I want the most aggressive portfolio, and it does well? Okay, well, then the opposite's going to happen. It's going to look pretty good. He has $1.5 million at the end. I prefer to keep this on moderate when I am doing allocations with clients. Could we do better than moderate? Yeah, we could. But that's looking at a 6% or so growth rate with 3% inflation, a 3% real return. That's realistic. So based off of that, that's cutting them really close. I mean, just about at the end. So they have a few options. The first thing they could do is they could go, we're not going to spend $8,000 a month as our base. We're going to spend $6,000. I'm not taking away their vacations. I'm not taking away new cars. I'm just taking away their base expenses. So now it looks like if we do that, there's about $700,000 at the end. And he could say, I'm going to work till 62. Not saying this guy wants to do that. I'm just showing you an example. So now here we are. It looks like there's 1.2 million at the end. Does this tell me he can retire? No, this is not the graph I use. It's a illustratively, aesthetically pleasing graph, but it's not the graph I use. I use withdrawal rates. So now let's go back here. At 62, I see a withdrawal rate of 7%, 8%. That's a little higher than I would like, but but then it drops to 5%, 4%, 5%. Then it goes down to 1%, 0.5%. And then why is it jumping at 75? Why would it on earth would it go back up? Well, he's going to have RMDs, required minimum distributions, where he's forced to take out more than he's even going to need, which is telling me this person's in a good spot. Even if there's a year or two of a high withdrawal rate, in that year, I might go, hey, rather than us buy a new car and do a home remodel and pay for kids' college, could we space those out a few years? Because that's going to help make sure that you're not putting as much pressure on your portfolio. So I know what you guys are wondering. I know what you want. Okay. By this point, I've read enough comments on YouTube. You're like, just tell me the number. What's the probability of success that's going to tell me I can retire? I wish it was that simple. I wish I could say, guys, if you're 70, you're good. But look at this probability. Here's someone at 77% with my new updates here. And I'm saying he's in a pretty good spot. I'm saying that is comfortable based off his withdrawal rate. Now let's pretend he's like, I want to buy, I don't know, let's just say $100,000 RV. The year he buys it is really important because that's going to change, you can see, on the withdrawal rate. What if he bought it this year? Look at that. We'd have a 12.5% withdrawal rate. That's significant. Some of you will go, you can't retire on that. Well, what does the probability say? It still says 74%. That 12% doesn't freak me out. It's just 1 year we're taking a significant amount out. And I don't want him to be like, I'm not going to buy the RV because my probability of success changes by 3 percentage points. I'll just drive around in my Honda Civic for my retirement travel. Like that defeats the purpose. So I know you guys are wanting some magic number that's going to tell you you're okay. That's not how this works. This is just a good gauge. It's not saying, yes, you have a 26% chance you can't retire and 74% chance you can. That is not the way to look at it. Please, I urge you, if you are considering an early retirement, focus on withdrawal rates instead. That's all I got for you for this video. Please like it if you did find it was helpful. If you comment below and say, yeah, this was great, that helps. I'll make more content. If you're like, yeah, this really put me to sleep, also, that helps. Please tell me. And if you want to work with Root so that you have a real plan so you don't have to spend your time in retirement having to manage all of this, that's what we specialize in. Tax, estate, healthcare, withdrawal. We love it. I encourage you to go to our website, rootfinancial.com, and in the upper right, click the button, see if you're a fit. And then if it makes sense, we might be talking very soon. That's it. Thanks, guys.